data. Okay, I hope it is maximized. Okay. So the list is basically a collection of a data, and there are ways to create the list which is being shown here. If you want to create a list, the way to do that is sample list is equal to opening and closing square bracket. Now this will create an empty list. The point to note here is we use square bracket for the list. Next is creating a list with known size and known elements. So you could create something like this. So you have a sample list 1 is equal to opening square bracket. Then you have mark, 5, jack, 9, chan, and 5. Now there is one very interesting phenomena which we observed in the list, which was not offered by others. So can anyone from any class A or B, can explain me what advantage list offered over array which you have studied in other languages?
Sir, may I?
Yes, please go ahead.
So index number.
Sorry, index was for arrays also.
The string as well as int.
Sir, we can store many type of data types in this.
Fantastic. Yes, yes. I see that many of you have that answer. I see A47 also raised the hand. So yes, A47. Do you have the same answer, Shiva?
Yes, sir. Sir, list stores different data types and array stores a single data type element.
Correct. Very good. Anybody else want to say something? So that is the correct observation that you people have made, that when it comes to a list, we can store many types of data. So if you see here, the current list, you have been able to store the string type, which is mark. Then there is integer type, which is 5. Again, jack is a string type, 9 is integer type, chan is a string type, and 5 is going to be again an integer type. Then we have a list 2. Now list 2, again we have 3 elements and all of them are of the string type. So before I go ahead, quickly I'll ask a question. A division, roll number 10.
Yes, sir.
Now here in the first list, if you observe, it is mark, then 5, then jack, then 9, then chan, then 5. This mark, we call it as string variable. Why did you call it as a string type?
Sir, because it's in double quote marks.
Fantastic. Now this 5, we said it's an integer data type. Why do you say that?
Because it's a number, like, and it's not in double.
Yeah, that's the answer. What you said is correct. I mean, why it is integer type? Because it's simply a number. Therefore, it is an integer type. Okay, good. Similarly, if you look at the list, here we have all the elements which are of the type string. So how to identify string type? Simply by quotes. And the quotes is missing. You have integer, or you may have other like floating or double type of the variable. Okay. Next is creating a list with known size and unknown elements. So many times it does happen that you have a list, you know how many elements it will have, but you don't know what will be the content, because as we proceed over the time, those contents are decided. But to begin with, we need to have a list. So in that case, this is a way to do that. We have none asterisk 5. So what it does is, this asterisk is a way to create multiple elements. So when I say asterisk 5, it means I will have a list with 5 elements and all of them will be none. So it will be like none, comma, none, comma, none, comma, none, comma, none. So 5 times none I'll have. So that is how it's going to look like. Now, had it been opening square bracket 0, closing square bracket asterisk 5, then I will get 5 zeros. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So whenever you want to duplicate some element, which generally happens during the initialization of the list, this is the way of doing it. You can simply have their asterisk and the number of times you want to have that particular element. Okay. Next is the length of the list. So length of the list, here you have len. So this is the method which will help you find out what is the length of your list. Next is random access of elements. So you can read the content of the list as well as you can write the content of the list. And in order to do that, simply you have to write the name of the list followed by the index. So when you say index 2, you are referring to the third element because always index starts with 0. So if you say sample list 2, so you are referring to second index, but in reality you are referring to third element because the first element is represented by 0. The second element is represented by index 1 and the third element will be represented by index 2. Next is random write. So we have sample list 2 is equal to James. So what we are doing here is James is a string and that string is being assigned to the third element of the list. So when I say index 2, I am referring to the third element of the list and I'm assigning the string to that particular element in the list. The other operation is adding an element to the end of the list. So I say sample underscore list dot append. So whenever I do this dot append, what happens is an element is added at the end of the list. Now that's an important point to note. That element is added at the end of the list. So if list is already existing and if I say dot append, I will be having this element at the end. Now when you do real life programming, this is a very useful operation.
Sir,
Yeah.
explain it again, please.
Okay, so I am explaining it again. Here what I have is adding an element to the end of the list. So I use a method called append. So I say name of the list, which is sample underscore list, dot is the operator which is used to access a certain member, and then I have dot append, opening round bracket, I have James. What I'm going to do is this string, which is James, will be added at the end of the existing list. So for example, if my existing list is this list, let's say the second list, Mark, Jack, Chen. And if I say sample underscore list 2 dot append James. So after this command is executed, and if I check the content will be Mark, Jack, Chen, followed by James. That will be the content of that particular list. Now, in real life, when you work with this, it's a very useful method, append method, very useful. Because most of the time, we do start with an empty list and we go on performing some operation based on some logic. And then the answer that we get, we go on adding to this empty list. So whenever we get an element, we keep on adding. And the best way to do that is to use append. So I can always say, I can start with an empty list and go on appending the new element to the existing list. That's how I can do that. Now, concatenating two lists. So suppose I have a new list which is Henry, comma, Tim. These are the two elements. Every element is a string data type. Then I have sample list plus new is equal to new underscore list. Now, you're already aware of this type. What it means is sample list is equal to sample list plus new list. And the lower expression also similar, but there is a bit of a difference here. Now, that difference has been listed here. Sample list first equal to new underscore list. It concatenates new list to the sample list. Okay, so just like appending business, almost like appending business. But if you write a statement sample list is equal to sample underscore list plus new list, it creates a new list named sample underscore list containing the concatenated elements from the original sample list and new list. So that's the difference between the two. So what second is doing, let me repeat once again. You have an original sample list. To that, you add a new list, and whatever is formed, okay, that is being assigned to a new sample list. That's how you are doing it. Earlier, what was happening is in the line number 2, you have an existing sample list. You are simply appending the new list at the end of it. You are simply adding a new list at the end of it. You're not creating anything new. But in the second case, what is happening is you have an existing list, you take up a new list, you add to it, and whichever list is formed after this concatenation, that is stored as a new sample list. It's like you're creating new one and storing it into it. That's how the two differ. Okay, now let's move on to the next. Okay, now if you are there on the InfyTQ website, if you are registered there, you will find these examples there, and these examples will give you some idea about the list iteration and the operation. Okay, so you could do that if you are registered there. Similarly, the same kind of operations. Now, here let's quickly have a look at it. An element are stored sequentially in a list. We can use the loop to access the elements and try out the below code and observe different ways of accessing the element in the list sequentially. So here we have been given a list, and it is AI, EM, BA. So it's a short form for Air India, then Emirates, and British Airways. Okay. So we have 3 airlines here. Now, how do I understand it's a list type data variable? Because of the opening and a closing square bracket. When it comes to Python, in Python we don't have arrays. In Python what we have is a list. Okay. And how are we representing them? By opening and closing square brackets. So it is the square bracket that tells me that I'm dealing with a list. Okay. Now here list has been given to us. It has got 3 elements. Now line number 3 says print, iterating the list using range. Now as far as the range function is concerned, we are aware of it. Range is, it has a start value, end value, and step size. If it has only start and end value, step size is missing, we understand default step size is 1. That's our understanding. Now line number 4 says for index in the range. So here for is the keyword, in is also a keyword. And what do I understand? I'm dealing with a for loop. That is my understanding here. Here index is a variable name that we have given, and we have a choice of giving any name that we like here. Then we have range, opening round bracket, 0, which is the start value, comma, length in the bracket, list of airlines. Now len, len is basically a method. What does it do? It will find out the length of the variable which is given inside the bracket. Now inside the brackets, what do we have? Inside the bracket we have list of airlines. What is list of airlines? It is of the list data type. Now how many elements it has? It has 1, 2, 3. It has got 3 elements. So here when I ask for len list of airlines, I'm going to get answer 3. So I can think of line number 4 as for index in range 0, 3. That is what I have. Now you know about the range method. The range method is, it has a start value. It will go on incrementing or decrementing based on step size, and it will go up to an element 1 lesser than the final value. Now in this case, start value is 0, end value is 3. So it will start from 0, go to 1, then 2, and then stop. Why stop? Because 2 is 1 lesser than 3. Therefore, it will stop at 2. So in this case, we can have value 0, 1, or 2. So when the for loop begins, this first 0 will be assigned to the index. And we go to line number 5. Line number 5 will say print list underscore of underscore airline. In the bracket we have index. Currently this index has taken a value 0, so I'll have 0 here. Now this is the list, and we are trying to access the element at 0th index. Now the element at 0th index is AI, okay, and therefore AI will be printed. Once that is done, then control will again go up here, and the next value will be assigned to the index, which is 1. Then again, line number 5 will be executed. Print list of airlines. Index 1 is EM, am I right? That will be printed. Similarly, again, the next value, which is 2, will be assigned to index. Line number 5 will be executed, and we'll be printing this time BA, which is a short form for British Airways. Okay, so these AI, EM, and BA will be printed one below the other. After that, we realize this is over. So A20, Jayayush.
Jayayush, yeah.
Yes, Jay.
Sir, I wanted to ask, when you went to line number 5, then how did it go directly to line number 3 once again? Why didn't it go to line number 7?
When I went to line number 5 here, I go back to line number 4. I don't go to line number 3.
Sorry, line number 4.
Okay. So now,
why didn't it go to line number 7?
Okay, yeah, I'll explain. So now if you look at the indentation, at line number 1, it has some indentation. And that indentation is almost 0 because there is no space between the starting point and L, right? Here,
Yes, sir.
List, this word is list. It is beginning with the letter L. If you look at the indentation, there is no indentation at all almost. Is it okay? So this is my
Yes,
line
sir.
number 1. Line number 2 also has the same indentation. Line number 4 also has the same indentation. It's a for loop. After for loop, if you look at the end of the for loop, there is a colon. Colon is a delimiter. It tells me a new block is going to start now, which is to be executed when this for loop begins. So I go to line number 5 and I realize there is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of 4 spaces. So there is a specific indentation given to it. And with that indentation, there is only one statement. Had there been 10 statements with the same or more indentation, I would have considered it as a block of statements to be executed in the for loop. Am I clear?
Okay, sir.
But since there is only one statement with those indentations, I realized that only one statement is to be executed. Now, how did I understand where to stop? When I look at the next statement, on the next line, there is no statement. When I go to line number 7, I realize that indentation is same as the for loop. That means line number 7 is not a part of the for loop. Am I clear?
Okay, sir, yeah, I got it.
So therefore, I realized in this for loop, there is only one statement, which is print statement. So whenever I used to execute that, I used to go to line number 5. As soon as line number 5 is over, the control again goes back to for loop because there is only one line to execute. Okay, so this is how it is happening here. Now, with this doubt clear, let's go to line number 7. Line number 7 says print iterating the list using keyword in. So that will be printed. Line number 8, for airline in list of airlines. Now, what we are looking at is line number 4, 5 and line number 8, 9. They are the two ways of achieving the same output. If we were to look at the output, it's going to be the same if for line number 4, 5 and line number 8, 9. So what they have shown you is two ways of accessing the content inside a list. One way is by using the index, which we already saw in line number 4 and 5. Now, the second way is 8 and 9. That's what we are seeing now. For airline. Now, for is a keyword. Airline is a variable name that we gave. In is again a keyword. And list underscore of underscore airline. This is nothing but a list, which we have defined in line number 1. So now what are we doing? We are going to access the contents of this particular list. This list is nothing but what is shown to you in line number 1. So when for loop begins, the first element, which is AI, will be assigned to the variable airline. Then the for loop begins, line number 9 is executed, we print AI. Now, because there is only one line, control again goes back to line number 8. Now, the next element of the list, which is EM, will be assigned to the variable airline. And then we execute line number 9 and EM will be printed. Again, control move out to the for loop, and the third element, which is BA, will now be assigned to airline. Now line number 9 is executed and therefore BA will be printed. After that, since the contents of the list of airlines is over, so we'll come out of the for loop and proceed further. But line number 10 onwards, there is no command to execute. So that is how this program is going to run. So what we learned is how to access the content of the list. One way of is doing this, line number 4 and 5. That is one of the way of doing it, by using index. And the second way is by using in, okay, which is you have directly used the name of that list and the for loop is accessing the content within that list. So very fantastic way of doing it. And both the ways are fantastic. You could use any one which you are comfortable with, okay. Next, let's go ahead. Now, if we just want to find out whether an element is there in the list, we need not iterate through the list. Instead, we can use the if in syntax. As by using that syntax, you can get the output. So many times it happens. Now, fortunately, what we have is, it's like I'm delivering a session and I know there are around 123 students online and I want to find out some students. Okay, so that's my requirement. I just want to know whether that student is there or not. Okay, that's what I want to know. So something similar kind here. In line number 1, I have 3 airlines and I want to check whether the specific airline that I am thinking of is part of that list or not. Okay, so one way of doing it is what we saw previously, iterating through each and every element. And there is a shortcut way which we are seeing now. So we say line number 3, airline is equal to AI. Okay, now if airline in list of airlines. Now if we know it's a keyword, airline is a variable name which we have given and we can give any name that we like. In is again is a keyword. Whenever I say keyword, it means you have no option. You have to use it as it is. You cannot change it as per your wish. As far as airline is concerned, you could have given it any other name that you like, X, Y, Z, any name that you like. But you cannot play with if, you cannot play with in. These are keywords and they must be used the way they are and in the same position in which they are being shown here. So if airline in list of airlines. So here I'm providing the list and I'm checking whether the variable that I'm looking for is there in the list or not. Now, if it is true, if this turns out to be true, then line number 5 will be executed. If it turns out to be false, okay, in that case, line number 6, which is the else statement, that will be executed. Okay, so if you were to run this, you will realize that that airline is found. Now, what is so great about it? It's an easy business to find out whether some element is present in the given list or not. It's just like I trying to search whether a particular student is present in this current list of 123 students, which I have, sorry, 135 I see, 135 students, which I see there. So I can easily do this business by using if and in, very effective method of handling this business. Okay, next. Now list slice. Now assume that the name of the airlines operating from an airport are stored in a list and as shown below. Suppose we need to extract the airlines from first to third index positions in the list, then how do we do that? So this is the list of airlines. I have AI, SJ, JA, EM, AA. So these are short forms for the list of airlines. Okay, and then there is index. So this list has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 elements which are stored in the list. And when I look at the index begins with 0 and therefore it will end with 4 because it is beginning from 0. Now there is something called as a negative index which we'll talk soon. But currently we are just discussing the first 2 rows. This is what we are discussing. Now Python offers a simple solution in the form of slicing. So if you want to get part of the list, the way to do that is shown here. So I can say sublist is equal to list underscore of underscore airlines opening square bracket 1:4. Now here the strategy is something similar to the strategy of range. So this first digit indicates where to start from, and the second digit tells you where to stop. Okay, so the second digit is like an end, but just like in case of range, you have to end one lesser than what is being supplied here. So when I say 1 to 4, it means I'll start at index 1 and I'll go up to index 3. That is how I'll go. I repeat, I'll start at index 1 and I'll go up to index 1 lesser than 4, which is 3. So indices may also be considered negative, okay, as shown here. Now, why the obvious question is, why do we even need negative indices and so and so? Now, the ease with which we can access certain elements. Sometimes what happens is we have a list, it contains elements, and the list length keeps varying based on the program that you are dealing with. So many times we are not exactly sure that how many elements are there in that list. But one thing we know that we want to know what is the last element of that list. Okay. In that case, we can use the indexing and you can find out the last element. So for the last element, the index is -1. Second last element, it is -2, then -3, -4, -5, and so and so. If any list is given to us, suppose this is the first list, and you want to know what is the first element of that list. So you will say list of airlines in the square bracket index is 0. So that 0 index will tell you the first element. It's the easiest way to identify the first element in the list. Similarly, if you want to identify the last element of the list, the easiest way is to use index -1. So if I say list of airlines in the square bracket -1, I will be accessing the last element of that list, which in this case is AA. I'm hoping this point is clearly understood. So the last element is represented by -1, second last element is represented by index -2, third last by index -3, -4, -5, and so and so. So for example, to fetch the second last airline in the list, it can be written as list underscore of underscore airlines in the bracket -2. So when I say index is -2, I am referring to second last element of the list. This is equivalent to the list of list underscore of underscore airlines in the bracket length list of airlines -2. So if you look at the length of this, it's 5. 5 minus 2 gives you 3. So at index 3, what you have is corresponding index -2. Okay. So now negative indexes can also be used for slicing. In this case, list underscore of underscore airlines -4 colon -1. So you are going to start at -4 and you are going to stop at an index 1 lesser than -1. -1 is here. So 1 lesser than -1 is -2. So you will start from -4, go to -3, and then go to -2 and stop there. So the slice that you are taking out is from SJ, JA, EM. That's it. That is how you are going to get it. So I hope this understanding is clear to all, and with that understanding, maybe now I will look for answers to this particular question. So let me invite a participant. So from A division, I would like to invite roll number 27. A division 27. Wake up call for A division 27. A division 28.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I heard yes. So that was A28. Okay, Tushar. Okay, Tushar. Now you look at the code. Code says line number 1 is list of airlines, opening square bracket, AI, comma, SJ, comma, JA, comma, EM, comma, AA, and closing square bracket. I have given more stress on opening and closing square bracket because that tells me that I'm dealing with lists. Okay. Line number 2, new list is equal to list of airlines, opening square bracket, 1:4, closing square bracket. And then I have a print statement. Can you tell me what is the output of this print?
Yes, sir. In line number 3, answer, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sir. The answer is line number 3, AI, SJ, and J.
Sure.
1 to 4. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's understand it. Now here I have a list with index 0. So this is the element at 0th index. This is the element at index 1. This is the element at index 2, element at index 3, and element at index 4. Now, as per second line, I want to start at index 1. So that means I want to start from SJ. And I want to go up to 4. So I will go up to 1 lesser than 4, which is 3. So this is my index 1, this is my index 2, and this is my index 3. So if I do this, the line number 3 will give me output as SJ, comma, JA, comma, EM. Am I clear, roll number 28?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, now let's look at line number 4. Line number 4 says new list is equal to list of airlines, opening square bracket, -4, colon, -1. And line number 5 prints that new list. According to you, what will be the output?
The reverse output of line number 3, sir.
Okay, let's understand this. Now here we are using negative indices. Now negative indices, understand how are they applied. They are applied from here, last element. Last element has an index of -1. This has an index of -2. This has an index of -3. This has an index of -4. And this has an index of -5. Now,
Oh,
when
sir.
you look at it, yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, A and EM and J.
Okay. Let's see what we get here. Let's see it here. Now we are starting from index -4. Now, first of all, where is -4? This is -1, -2, -3, -4. So I understand I need to start from SJ. This is what I understand. Then I need to go up to -1. So -1 is here. But as per the rule, I will go 1 lesser than -1. That means I can go only up to -2. So I have to start from -4, then go to -3, then go to -2. So I will be printing SJ, comma, JA, comma, EM. This will be the output corresponding to line number 5. Am I clear? 828?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay, fine. Anybody has any doubt? Okay. So with this,
Roll number 827, now you can speak.
sorry,
827.
has a doubt.
Sir, you called her number, but she was not.
Yeah, if she was not answering.
Now, in between, she was asking some doubt.
Okay. If you have doubt, quickly ask, or else we are moving ahead. 827. Do you still have a doubt?
Even say, roll number 7, you raised hand.
Yes, sir, that answering that query. Okay. Got it.
Okay. So I believe queries are resolved. And with this, let's move ahead. Now, next, I'm going to deal with is list of lists. So if you want to store the airline details of all airline operations operating from an airport, we may use list of lists, just like a nested list, as shown in the code below. lines that we have, line number 1 will not be executed. So let's discuss about this. So may I invite from B division, roll number 34. B division, roll number 34. B division, roll number 34. Roll number 35.
Untitled.
I guess B34 answer. B34.
Untitled.
Untitled. I mean, well, I'm not sure what are you talking about. My first question is, we have line number 1. Will it be executed or not?
Visa?
Line number 1, will it be executed or not?
No, sir.
Reason?
So because it is commented.
Very good. So we are using here hash to write a single line comment. And whenever we have comments are not executed. Okay. They are there to guide us about the program. Similarly, line number 2, it says stores, airlines, and number of flights operated by them. So this is what is there, what we have. So this is the list of lists. It stores the airline and the number of flights operated by them. So first 2 lines are simply comments, they are not going to be executed. Line number 3 will be executed. Here airline underscore details is a variable to which you are assigning some value. So A division, roll number, which is the number which recently answered, 34. A34.
Yes, sir.
So here, if you look at it, can I call it line number 3? I have a list.
Yes, sir.
Why are you calling it as a list?
Since it contains characters as well as number.
No, because it starts and ends with a square bracket. Therefore, you call it as a list. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So if the question is asked, why are you calling a list as a list? So square bracket. And square brackets are used to denote a list. Therefore, this is a list. When I look at it, I have an opening square bracket here. There is a new square bracket which is beginning here and it is ending here. Then I have a comma. Again, a new square bracket beginning here, ending here, I have a comma. New square bracket beginning here, ending here, followed by one more closing square bracket. So I realize that I have a list, and inside a list, again, I have a list. So if I consider of the outer list, then the first is 0th element, next is first element, and the next is second element. But I realize my 0th element itself is a list and it has 2 elements inside it. When I look at it here, I realize my first element is also a list and that list has 2 elements inside it. Similarly, when I look that at index 2, I have another list and inside that list there are 2 elements. So it's a listed, list inside a list, a nested list. So when I look at line number 5, to get the details of Emirates airline, line number 6 says print a list. Now here we say print airline underscore details in the bracket 1. So maybe invite somebody from A division, roll number 48. A division, roll number 48. What will be the output corresponding to line number 7? A48.
Sir,
Yes.
like print airline details 1.
Sorry?
So line number 7, right?
Yes. If that is executed, what will be the output?
Sir, like that airline details, which is in bracket 1, would be printed, which is in list 1.
Okay. Now, print is a method. Inside the bracket, what you give gets printed. Now, inside a bracket, we have basically a list. And we are not trying to print the complete list, but we are trying to print a specific index. And that index is given to be 1. So when I look at line number 3, when I look at it, I realize 0th index is the first list, which is here. First index is the list, which is here. And second index is the list, which is here. So when I say I am trying to access index 1, I am trying to access this particular list. So when I print it, I'll be printing EM, 10. This particular list will get printed. So yes, Rishabh, what is your query?
Sir, that was my answer.
Okay, that was your answer. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. Now, line number 9 says to get the number of flights observed by British Airways BA, which is 21, refers to the second list and the first value inside the airline details. So let's talk about line number 12. Print airline details. First bracket we have 2, next bracket we have 1. So let's see what exactly happens. Here, when I say airline.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Sir, can you please repeat the third sentence? Means what it will be print? It will be print as EM, 10, or it will print as EM only. So what is the
EM, 10 will be printed.
Sir,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so comma 10 is an integer, no sir? So it will print the whole bracket, no sir?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay. So I was
Okay, in
confused in
case-
the
okay, that's okay. Let
10
me
part.
just-
Means what is the meaning of 10? Why we have put your comma 10 instead of putting single as EM?
Okay, I got it. What you're saying. Let me show it here. I'll take you to Python and show you there. So it will have a better clarity. Okay. This share. Share. Okay, I'm in the Python shell and we have something like this. List underscore airline is equal to this. Inside this, I have this, which is I have AI and the next is comma 7. Then I have again EM, comma 10. And then here we say we have BA, comma 50. This is what we have. Now, here what I have done is it's a nested list inside a list. It has got 3 elements. This is element number 1, this is element number 2, this is element number 3. Now, element number 0, okay, at 0th element, again I have a list which has got 2 elements inside it. First element is AI, which is the name of the airline, and next is a number, which is the number of flights that AI is operating from that particular airport. Next is, this is at index 1. So at index 1, again I have a list which has got content as 2 elements. One is the name of the airline, which is Emirates, and corresponding number of flights which is operating, which is 10, and so and so. So if I were to say list, so if I say this, and if I want to access the 0th element here, you can observe this is what I get. What is 0th element? It is a list which has got 2 elements, AI and 7. Similarly, if I want to access the first element here, and if I say this, I will get the second list, which is em comma 10. Similarly, if I want to access, say, the index 2 and say enter, then I'll get the last list, which is here. Now, if I want to access this specifically right is what I want to access. The question is, how do I reach or how do I access only this specific element? That is what I want to access. So in order to do that, first of all, you will have to reach here, which is the first element of the list. After reaching there, you have to reach here, which is the 0th element of the list, which is inside it. So now what I'm saying is, I say this, then I say 1, because that's the first element there, and then I say 0, and then I say enter, and then I have. So this first one takes me here, and then next 0 takes me here, and that is why em gets printed here. So I hope this part, yeah.
सर अगर 10 शिफ्ट प्रिंट करना है तो 1 ना 1 डालना
प्रिंट करना है, right?
हाँ.
So what I do is I take it from here, and instead of 0, because that's the first element there, so then I have 10.
सर
Yeah.
टाइपकास्टिंग से भी कर सकते हैं ना.
Now, right now, typecasting is not what we are looking at. We are looking at how to access a specific element in a nested list. That is our goal as of now. Am I clear? Typecasting is not a business here. Am I clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now with this, again, we are going back to the program that we were dealing with. So this is what we had. We were on this particular slide, and we were discussing as how do we get the respective number. So now let's look at line number 12. It says airline underscore detail, first bracket 2, second bracket 1. So when I say first bracket is 2, I'll be accessing this particular element, which is this list. And when I say 1 in that, so first element is 0th element, next element is the first element. So now 7 will be printed when I do this part of the story. Is that okay? So now let me go to the next question, which is line number 15. And then I'm going to ask you questions. So let me invite from A division, roll number 40. A division, roll number 40.
Yes, sir.
Please have a look at line number 16. And
Yes, sir.
we are interested in output of line number 16. So for airline in airline underscore details, print airline. So can you suggest what will be the output?
Sir, in airline details, the EM10.
Is that your answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's understand this. What do we get here? So for is the keyword. Airline is a variable name which we have used. We could have used any other name that we like, X, Y, Z, anything that we like. In is a keyword, we have to use it as it is. And this is the list which we are trying to access. Airline underscore details, which is being given here. Now what will happen is, as per the logic, the first element of the list will be assigned here. So the first element inside the list is this. So it starts with here, it goes up to here, which itself is a list. So that list will be assigned to the airline. Once that is done, then we go to line number 17 and it says print airline. So that variable is nothing but a list. So AI, 8 will be printed. Control will again go back here. The next element of the list is EM, 10. So that will be assigned to this variable airline. We come to line number 17, that will be printed. Control will again go back here. In that the last element is BA, 7, that will be assigned to airline. In line number 17, we print it. So therefore this will get printed. After this is printed, control again goes back to for loop, but realizes all the elements are over. So therefore it will come out of the for loop and it will go towards line number 20. Line number 20 says print number of flights operated by each airline. And line number 21 says for airline in airline details. Okay. So what will happen? Again, airline details is nothing but this list. In that, what are we doing? First, this particular list will be assigned to the variable airline. In line number 22, we say print airline in the bracket 1. So what is airline? Currently, airline variable contains this particular list. In that list, you are trying to access a first element. The index is 1. So this is 0th index and this is first index. So 8 will be printed here. Is this part clear? That 8 will be printed here. Next, the next element of the list is this. This will be assigned to the variable airline. And then we have print airline 1. Now in the airline, currently this is the list that we have. You are trying to access the element at index 1. Now in that 0 index is this value, first index is this value. Therefore 10 will now be assigned here and that will be printed. Similarly, again, the last element will be assigned to this variable airline. In that last element, which is a list itself, you are trying to access the element at index 1 and therefore 7 will be printed. So this is what we will get. So here we printed the content, here we printed the number of airlines associated with that particular airline. So I hope this part is also clear to all. So with this, now we'll take up.
Hello, Manoj sir. Manoj sir. Okay, students, a break of 10 minutes. Abhinav, mute yourself. A64.
I hope PPTs are visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this is an exercise which, in case you go to InfyTQ, you will see. In fact, not just this, but there are many such exercises there for list. And when you will do it, the actual programming, you will realize that there are functions in which the list is being used, and that will make all the concepts clear. Now here there is one question. I'll just read out a question, interesting one. Given a list of integer values, write a Python program to check whether it contains the same number in adjacent position. Display the count of such adjacent occurrences. They have given you the sample input and expected output. So this is 1, 1, 5, 100, 20, minus 20, minus 20, 6, 0, 0. So expected output is 3, and so and so. So 3 sample inputs are given, expected output is given, part of the code is given to you. They have given you the definition of the function, name of the function, the argument that you should take, the value that you should return, and the list that you should take, and corresponding the output that you should get. So if you are on the website, you'll get to see all these things there. So now list is being used inside a function. Function definitions and function execution you're already clear about. So if you do that, both the things, the list will get clear as well as your function will also get revised. So there are many such exercises and examples there which you could do. Now we are going to move ahead. So next, after list, we are going to study something called as a tuple. Now, some pronounce it, this is T-U-P-L-E, some pronounce it as tuple, some pronounce it as a tuple. I'll leave it to you, whatever you like, you can call it, okay? Now, when it comes to tuple, suppose it is mandatory to have following types of food in the lunch menu of the passengers. So we are still with the airlines. Welcome drink, veg starter, non-veg starter, veg main course, non-veg main course, and dessert. How can we store it such that no one can modify the elements? Okay. Now, of course, we can use the list, but anybody can modify an element in the list. This is where we can use the another collection data type, which is known as tuple. Okay, so basically tuples are like list, but there is one important difference between them, and that difference is you cannot modify the content of the tuple. When it comes to list, you can modify the content, you can change the content of the list, but when it comes to tuple, you will not be able to change the content of the list. And there are many situations where we need that the contents should not be modified. For example, this college, suppose they display the course fee for a particular year, and for that entire year, that fees is not going to change. It's going to remain as it is. If it is going to change, it is going to change next year. So once a fee is displayed, almost for next 365 days, there is no change in that. So if something like this you are displaying and you don't want it to change for a good number of time, good amount of time, then we can use tuple. So when you use a tuple, that content cannot be changed. Otherwise, there is a possibility that somebody might get to it and change that content. So had it been a list, it is possible to change that content. But if it is a tuple, you cannot change the content. It can only be read, but it cannot be changed. So that is how it is useful. Many times you may be going to Zomato and the Zomato is displaying the list of various recipes which are available in the various restaurants. So when you look at the menu, you have the item followed by its price. Now, obviously, you don't want that somebody to meddle. If you are an owner of a restaurant, you don't want somebody to hack into it and change the content or change the prices of your items. So you will always prefer to have the values which are fixed, okay, whatever for next 6 months, 8 months, whatever. So in that case, you could very well make use of tuple, where it becomes only a read only, it cannot be changed. Okay. So like list, the tuples can also store a sequence of elements, but the value of the elements cannot be changed. That is, tuples are immutable. Please mark this particular word, because in case you are appearing anywhere for interviews or they are testing or you on Python, they are going to use this word called immutable. So tuples are immutable. Immutable means you cannot change the values. Now, elements can be homogeneous or heterogeneous, but they are lunch underscore menu is equal to opening round bracket and we have a closing round bracket. Now that's how we differentiate between list and tuple. If it is a tuple, it is round brackets. If it is a list, it is square brackets. So these brackets tell me that what I'm dealing with is going to be a tuple. In fact, even if those brackets are not written, opening and closing brackets, it will still do. It will still be a tuple. Okay, so even though the brackets are missing, it's going to be a tuple. But as a normal practice, we always use these brackets, opening and closing round brackets. If it is square brackets, it's a list. If it is round brackets, it's going to be a tuple. Okay, so the contents are welcome drink, followed by veg starter, non-veg starter, veg main course, non-veg main course, and dessert. So here is our understanding. Now next is random write. Now lunch underscore menu in the bracket 0 is equal to double quotes, and there is nothing in this double quotes. Now this will result in an error as tuple is immutable. Hence, random write is not possible in the tuple. When you add list, you could have assigned a value. You could have very well said list underscore airlines underscore in the bracket, then maybe second element 2 is equal to British Airways. You could do that. No, you could assign a value to a particular element in that list. But when it comes to a tuple, you cannot assign a value. That write operation is not allowed. Okay, so it's only read only business. It's not, write is not possible when it comes to the tuples. So here is some quiz which we are going to deal with now. So I'm going to invite the participants now. So from A division, roll number 43, A43. Yes, 43, are you there? A division. Okay, Deepak sir, A43 is absent. A44. A division 44. Okay, you have one more student. A45.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Nitesh.
Yes, sir.
Now we are going to solve this quiz. Let's have a look at the quiz.
Yes, sir.
Which among the following statements may result in an error? Assume that the statements are executed in the order in which it is written. So from A up to H, there are various statements, and our task is to find out which may result statements, and can you suggest which one can cause error? Your options are given here on the right hand side. So you could go line by line starting from A to H, and according to you, which statement will cause an error?
Sir, D.
Okay. Can you tell me why not A?
सर वाई करेक्ट लग रहा है.
No, I'm asking statement A. वो correct लग रहा है?
लिस्ट वन एक करेक्ट लग रहा है.
Okay. Now, if you look at statement A, basically we have a variable name list1 is equal to and opening and closing square bracket. Because I have a square bracket, I understand I'm dealing with a list data type. Okay. Now I look at it, there are 5 elements there, and this is nothing but an assignment. You are assigning a values to a list. So this is a correct statement. Then statement B, print. In the bracket, we have len, which is a length method. It finds out the length. And list 1. List 1 is given here. If this line is executed, the answer is going to be 5. Is that okay? Is it correct?
B, sir.
Yeah, is B correct?
D is not correct.
Okay, but I'm asking B for bat. Is it correct?
Yes, sir. B is correct.
Okay, let's talk about C. C is print list 1 in the bracket 4. So can you tell me 43, what will this be printing? 45, Nitesh.
What will print it? What will C print?
Yes.
Print list 1 4. 25.
Let's check. Now you are looking at index 4. This is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, and index 4. Perfect. So it will be printing 25. Let's talk now D. You said D will give us error. Can you tell me why? Yes, Nitesh?
Yes, sir.
So why there will be an error?
Sir, because length of the list is 5, but maximum index is only 4. Therefore, D is correct.
Your answer is correct. If you look at the list 1, it has index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So max index value going up to 4. You are trying to access the element at index 5, but index 5 does not exist. So therefore, it will go into an error telling me that you are trying to access index which is out of bounds. That is the error that it will show. And therefore, you are correct that statement D will have an error. Let's look at now statement E. So what is your opinion about statement E? Yes, Nitesh.
Yes, sir. It will print from 3 to 4.
3 to 4. If you look at it, it's a basically slicing of list 1. This is my list 1. This tells me there is a slicing because there is a start, there is a colon, there is an end. Starting index is 4. That means I'm starting at 25. Now ending index will be 1 lesser than this value. This value is 5. 1 lesser than that is 4. So therefore, I'm starting at 4 and going up to 4. So index 4 is nothing but this value 25. And therefore, line E is going to print 25. Is that okay, Nitesh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's look at F. F says that list 1 in bracket 2 is equal to 12. So what are we doing here?
15 will replace by 12.
Correct. This 15 will be replaced by 12. Now, since we are dealing with list and lists are mutable, means they can be changed, therefore this operation is possible. Such operations are not possible in tuples. This is possible in list, but you cannot do this in tuples. Okay, let's look at line number G. Print list 1. So Nitesh, what will be printed?
So it will print the whole list 1.
Yes, it will print the
Which is
whole
in
list. 5, 10. Now in line F, we change it to 12, 20, 25. So that will be printed. Next, list 1 is equal to list 1 plus in the bracket 8, 9. So what will be this line? If this line is executed, what will happen? Let's understand.
15, 10, 12.
Now here I have list 1. List 1 is 5, 10, 12, 20, 15. Now this 15 in this particular line will convert it to 12. So therefore I'm reading it as 12. So 5, 10, 12, 20, 25. To which we are going to concatenate. This plus indicates concatenate. Okay, it's a concatenation of two lists. So this after 25, this 8 and 9 will be added. So I'll have comma 8, comma 9. So now this list 1 will have 9 elements and content will be 5, 10, 12, 20, 25, 9. That will be the content of that. Okay. So with this understanding, now we are going to move ahead. Yeah.
Sir, previous slide, please.
Okay.
Sir, it is like appending or what? Plus का आपने बताया.
We talked about it earlier. What happens here is I have list 1, which is 5, 10, 15, 12, 20, 25, to which we add this new list. Whatever is formed is stored in a new list. A new list 1 will be created, and to that this will be stored.
So it is like appending.
Appending is a bit different. Appending means you keep the list as it is, to which simply append at the back. It will look like appending only, but there is a difference. It's like maintaining origin and attaching something, and attaching the two and putting it in the new variable. These two are different things. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So that there is a slight difference. That's it. So in this case, the output will look like it is appended and it is kind of concatenating, but the slight difference is the original maintained and appended is different from two strings concatenated and then put it in a new list with the same name, list 1. That's a slightly different operation.
In conclusion, concatenation has two lists, which needs to be merged.
In conclusion, what we are going to have a list at the end, which will be combination of both the lists.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Now let's look at this particular quiz, which is about the tuples. And I'll invite from, say, B division, roll number 43, B43. Can you see the list, B43? B division 47. Wake up call. B division 48. B division 49. B division 50.
Yes, sir.
Okay, who is that?
Sir, B43.
B43. Okay, B43. Let's solve this quiz. Are you ready? B43.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Muskan, let me read the question for you. Which among the following statements may result in an error? Assume that statements are executed in the order in which they are written. The options are here and the question is here. So according to you, out of these 4 options, what is the correct option? I mean, by correct I mean, which will result in error out of these 4 options? So please have a look at it and let us know, what do you choose?
Sir, E option.
Option E. Reason?
Sir, because tuple list be changed and read only होता है इसलिए इसके वजह से.
Okay, let's go line by line. Are you ready, Muskan? Muskan, are you ready?
Yes,
line
sir.
by line. Okay. So first line is tuple 1 is equal to opening round bracket 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 closing round bracket. Is this line correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
It is correct.
Yes,
We
sir.
are creating a tuple in which there are 5 elements. Line number B, print len tuple 1. So len is a method, tuple 1 is a tuple. So when
Yes,
you
sir.
say len, you are trying to calculate the number of elements inside that tuple.
Yes,
Number of
sir.
elements are 5.
Yes.
So this bracket, inside the bracket, you will have 5. And
Yes.
you are saying print 5, so therefore 5 will be printed. Now let's talk about line C. Tuple 1, 2, so you are trying to access the element at the second, and you are saying it is equal to 100. So what is your opinion about this line?
So 15 is equal to 100.
No. Now this is a tuple. Tuple is immutable. Once you have written the
Yes, sir.
content,
Yes, sir.
you cannot change the content. So you cannot change the content. You cannot change that 15 to
Yes,
100.
sir. Yes.
Is it okay?
So
It's
this
just
is
like
wrong.
your fees written on the website as 1,50,000. You wish to make it only 1 lakh rupees, but you cannot change it. It's like a tuple. It's just there and it will remain there for a 1 year like that.
Yes, sir.
Is that okay? You
Yes.
look at a Zomato menu and you liked something, you like maybe biryani, and it is mentioned there 1,500 rupees, and you want to change that price to 15 rupees. We cannot do that.
Yes.
They will not be allowing us this operation. So it's a tuple and you can't write a tuple. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So therefore C is wrong. But do you see C as an option here?
C and D are together
Yeah,
as
so we need to check then D also. So let's look at D
Yes,
now. It says print tuple 1 in square bracket 5. Now 5 is the index. If you look at the index, 0th index, 1, 2, 3, 4. Index can go only up to 4.
4. Yes, sir.
Index doesn't exist. So therefore, you're trying to access an element which is outside the range. So it's
Yes.
out of bound error. So on line D is going to cause an error to you. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now let's look at line E. So therefore, we understand that option to be this. The fourth option is the answer. Now when you look at tuple 1 is equal to tuple 1 plus 8, 9h. Now 8, 9h is starting from round bracket, ending with round bracket. It tells me that this is also tuple. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
It is a tuple with 3 elements. First is the integer, second is the integer, and the last one is the string. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Tuple 1 itself is also a tuple which has 5 elements where every element is an integer. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So when you say plus, what are you doing is you're trying to concatenate these two tuples. Now concatenation of two tuples is allowed. You can concatenate two tuples. That is allowed. Okay. What is not allowed is writing. Means if tuple 1 is there, which is this in line number A, and I want to change this 20 to 200, I cannot do that.
Yes, sir.
I cannot change that content there. But if I want to append something at the end, I want to join two tuples. So here what happens is we take tuple 1, which is this, we take tuple 2, which is this, we concatenate them and we put it in a new tuple. We create a new tuple, give it a same name, tuple 1, and in that data is dumped. That's how it works. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So with this understanding, we are going to move ahead for the next question. Okay. So now I would like to invite A division roll number 51. A division roll number 51. A division roll number 51. 52.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Tirth. Now we want to find the output of this particular question. Okay. What is the output of the following code? In Python, this particular line, line number 1, this creates a list with 5 elements, each having same value as 0. So if you look at it, it's an assignment statement. In the bracket, we wrote 0, and then we wrote asterisk 5. So it's like creating a list with 5 elements where every element is 0. It's like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So it is going to save your time. Now suppose ऐसा 100 का लिस्ट बनाना है तो यू हैव टू टाइप 0,0,0,0,0,0 100 टाइम्स टाइप करना पड़ेगा. Whereas Python gives you a better option that okay simply write that 0 and then say asterisk 100 तो वो print हो जाएगा. Is it okay? Tirth?
Yes, sir.
So this is my first line. I understand that it's a list having 5 zeros. For index in the range 1, 5. So when I say 1, 5, the first value it will take is 1 and the last value it will take is 4. So the values are 1, 2, 3, 4. Line number 3, my underscore list index is equal to index minus 1 into 10. And finally, I have 4, which is print my list. Can you tell me out of these 4 options, what will be the final answer according to you?
Sir, D.
B. Okay, let's check this. Now, first line we know. For index in range 1, 2, 3, 4. So first value assigned to this variable index will be 1. Now in line number 3, my underscore list in the bracket index value is 1.
1.
Is equal to index minus 1. So index is 1 minus 1, that is 0. 0 multiplied by 10, that gives me 0. So this answer is 0. So that 0 is assigned at index 1. Okay, my list index 1. So where do you find 0? You find it here and you find it here. So can I say option number 2 and option number 4 are now gone? Do you agree?
Sir, but first पे तो 0 आना चाहिए ना.
ये जो फर्स्ट है ना, सबसे पहले ये लिस्ट देख लो. ये लिस्ट में क्या है ना, 5 zeros है. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now अभी इंडेक्स का वैल्यू कितना है?
D1 है.
1 है. तो मैं कौन सा इंडेक्स को रिफर कर रहा हूं?
1.
तो मैं 0th इंडेक्स को हाथ लगा रहा हूं क्या?
नहीं. हाँ.
नहीं. तो मतलब ये जो पहला 0 है ना, उसको मैं हाथ ही नहीं लगा रहा.
हाँ.
तो पहला 0 तो होना ही है. तो when I started, I understood कि या तो ये आंसर है, या तो ये आंसर है, या तो ये आंसर है. इतना तो समझ में आ गया.
Yes.
Because I am trying to access index 1. अभी इंडेक्स 1 को मुझे 0 आंसर मिल गया. तो मतलब या तो ये होगा या तो ये होगा, क्योंकि इसमें इंडेक्स 1 पे 0 नहीं है, इसमें भी 0 नहीं है. तो या तो आंसर 1 है या तो आंसर 3 है. समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
अभी आगे चलते हैं हम लोग. So now this 2 will be assigned to this index. So now
Yes,
I'm going to access my list index 2. Okay, यहाँ पे इंडेक्स का वैल्यू कितना है? 2. 2 minus 1 कितना आएगा? 1. 1 into 10 कितना आएगा? 10.
10.
So that 10 will be stored at index 2. तो अभी इंडेक्स 2 देखने का, वहां पे 10 किधर है? इधर है. इसमें है क्या? नहीं है. तो मतलब ये आंसर है.
Yes.
ओके, फिर भी हम लोग इसको कंप्लीट करते हैं. तो इंडेक्स 2 पे हमको 10 मिल गया. नाउ 3 विल बी असाइंड हियर. So you are referring to index 3. So 3 minus 1 मतलब 2. 2 into 10 is 20. So 20 is assigned at index number 3. So 20 is assigned here.
Yes.
Next, it takes value 4. So my list index 4 is equal to 4 minus 1, which is 3. 3 which is 30. So 30 will be assigned at index 4. So we have it here.
Yes.
Abhi you can go only up to 4, 1 lesser than the last value.
Yes.
So therefore you will come out of it and you will simply print it, and that list will be printed, and this will be the output. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Sir,
Yeah.
can you explain it again why it starts from 0?
What starts from 0? This list?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's have a look at this. I guess best way to understand it is to go here. Okay, is my Python screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I say Manoj is equal to, now this is a list. Do you agree this is a list?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now have a look at this. Okay, do you agree this is a list?
Yes, sir.
I'm just making my point now. Do you see that?
Apples.
Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Now, when I did that, I could get what I needed just by doing this. Is it okay?
Yes.
Clear? So I
Yes.
hope, first of all, these basics are clear to you. Sure?
Sure, sir.
Fine. So now let me get back. So when I get back here, now I hope line 1 is now crystal clear to you. Line 1.
Yes.
Now when I go to line number 2, for index in range 1 comma 5, first of all, this will go from 1, 2, 3 up to 4. This is clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, first of all, this 1 will be assigned to the variable index. Do you clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, when I'm going to line number 3, my underscore list in the bracket index. What is the index value?
1.
So, you know that when I begin here, I had 5 zeros starting from index 0, 1, 2. But I'm accessing, if you think of this as a list, this is 0th index, first index, second index, third index, and fourth index. I'm accessing first index now. Am I clear?
Yes.
That is what is happening here. And I'm saying that is equal to, what is index 1 minus 1? That gives me 0. 0 multiplied by 10, that gives me 0. That 0
Yes, sir.
is
Yes, sir. Got it.
okay, fine.
Thank you,
Great.
sir.
Welcome. Now, let's move on to the next part of the business. There is, if you go to the InfyTech website, you have lot many questions and exercises and test cases. So currently I'll not get into test cases. I'll move on to a next interesting topic similar to this. So you can see there are lot many assignments for you to do. You will enjoy it there on the InfyTech website. All these are assignments. They are fantastic. If you do that, you just simply become the next topic that I'm dealing with, which is set. We have talked about list. We have talked about tuples. Lists are mutable. You can write to it. You can read from it. Tuples are immutable. You can read from it, but you can't write to it. Okay. Now there is something new that we are going to study now, which is set. Now, why and how they are different is the first thing we are going to learn. So again, coming back to the conversation of executive and the programmer, Mark, I was checking something in the flight counter and overheard a conversation between the flight officer and his assistant about some duplicate entries in the list of passenger names. So the programmer says, this is a good example to introduce set. Set, like list, string, etc., is another data type in Python. Python also has a set function which can be used to remove duplicates from the list. So it accepts a list and returns a set. So basically, when it comes to set, you cannot have duplicates inside a set. That's what it means. Okay, that's what it means. Now, if you have a look at it, a set is an unordered, please note the word unordered group of values with no duplicate entries. Set can be created by using a keyword set or by using curly braces. Important. Lists are created using opening and closing square brackets. Tuples are created by using opening and closing round brackets. And sets are created by using opening and closing curly brackets. So even if you look at a bracket, you understand whether it is a list, whether it is a tuple, or whether it is a set. Now, let's have a look at it. So if I say creating a set, so I say flight underscore set is equal to 500, 520, 600, so and so going, and towards the end, I have these curly brackets. Now, what does it do? It removes the duplicates from the given group of values to create the set. Now, just to make this point crystal clear, let me go to B division CR. Himanshu, are you there, Himanshu?
Yes, sir.
Himanshu, I'm typing something and I want you to tell me what you observed. Okay, I'm just typing something. Okay, did you see what I typed?
Yes, sir.
Can I call it a list? What I typed, can I call it a list?
No, sir.
Why not?
Sir, because the list has square brackets.
Fantastic. Can I call it a tuple?
No, sir.
Then can I call it a set?
Yes, sir.
Now you saw what I typed just now, okay? Now see when I try to access it. Have a look at it. And do you see a difference?
Yes, sir.
What is the difference?
Sir, every element which was repeated, it only like printed one of each element, each different element.
Good, very good. So what sets do is, set basically can have only unique data. You cannot have repeated data. So whenever you have a situation, something like this, suppose I have something like this. I have Manoj, and that Manoj is, let's assume it's a list. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now we have a list which is Manoj. And now I say him, which is Himanshu, is equal to set in the bracket. I say Manoj, then I say enter, and then I look at him. So I started with Manoj, which is a list. It had certain elements. My goal was to remove the duplicates which are sitting there. So what I did is I converted that list Manoj into a set and I gave it a new name. Currently it is him, which is a short form for Himanshu. And then I printed him and I looked at it. I observed that, okay, all duplicates are removed. So set is a fantastic way to remove duplicates. Sometimes somebody gives you a data which has got like 10,000 elements and there are a lot of duplicates and they will ask you, okay, remove the duplicates from here. Simplest way of doing it is just make it into a set and get back. You will realize that all duplicates are removed. It's an easy business. Is that okay, Himanshu?
Yes, sir.
I hope concept of set is now clear. What sets do and how different they are is clear. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So with this understanding of the set, there are a few more operations which you could do from the set, which is common elements between the two sets A and B. By using AND, you can do that. Elements which are there in a particular set and not in the other, you can find out by using this command. And if you want to merge two sets, then you use OR command and you can do that merging. Okay. So with this understanding, now I'll move further. The next thing that we want to learn is about dictionary. So we learn list, square brackets. We learn tuples, round brackets. We learn set, curly brackets. And now fourth thing we are learning, which is dictionary. Okay. So the executive says, I was just curious about something. In list and tuples, we saw how to store a sequence of values. But in many cases, I may want a sequence of related values. For example, a flight may have many types of crew. I want to store the crew names based on their designation. How can I do that? So the programmer says we can use dictionaries for this. Dictionary is a sequence of key and value pairs. A dictionaries can be used to store an unordered collection of key value pairs. Here two words are very important. The one word is unordered. They are not ordered. Dictionaries are not ordered. Whenever I have list, whenever I have tuple, they are ordered, means by using the index, I can access them. If I take list name and in the bracket I say index 0, that particular element will come out. If I say index 1, the first element will come out. If I say index 2, that particular element will come out. I can read it, I can write it, I can do that business based on indexing it. Reason is they are ordered. But when it comes to dictionary, when it comes to set, they are not ordered. So I cannot access those elements the way I can access the elements of list or tuples. That's the weightage of this word unordered. Okay. Next is, it's a collection of key value pairs. In fact, if you go to InfiniQ website, they have a best explanation for this. The exercises which they give you, they make you realize what is the value of this key value pair. There they have one example about the cricket, in which a particular batsman's complete record will be stored by its name. So its name will be used as a key, and corresponding data will be used as the value, and they make a key value pair. So if you want to access the record of Virat Kohli, so you have to use Virat Kohli as a key. In general, if you're accessing an element from the list, you use list index. So you say Manoj in square bracket 2. So in that list, whatever is present at index number 2, you will be able to fetch. In the dictionaries, if you say something and in the bracket you mention Virat Kohli as a key, the complete record of the Virat Kohli, which is its value, you can fetch. Let's have a look at the example. Crew detail is equal to, now here also, just like a set, we use opening and closing curly brackets. Here pilot is the key and Kumar is the value. Co-pilot is the key, Raghav is the value. Head stewardess is the key, Malini is the value. And stewardess is the key, Mala is the value. So the first element in every pair is the key and the second element is the value. Now accessing the value in the key. So if you want to access, your dictionary is crew details. So you say crew details, opening and closing square bracket. Now instead of index, which we used to use in the index, we used to use it in the list, in the tuples. Here inside, not index, but we have to use the key. So we said pilot. So if you type this, you are going to get answer as Kumar. Okay. So similarly, you can iterate through the dictionary and you can access the key value pair just like this command, which says for key comma value in is a keyword, crew underscore detail dot items. So that is dot items is something important, and print key and print value. So you'll be able to access keys and values by using this. So this is how the dictionaries operate. Okay. So that's the last slide for today I have, and that is an introduction for you to dictionary. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. In case you have a query, you can stay back, or else you could leave the session. Okay.
Sir, can you please explain iterating through the dictionary?
This part, right?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, okay. Now, let me create a dictionary. Let me show you directly on the Python. Let's go here. Okay, so here I say Manoj is the name of the dictionary. And in that, let's create first of all a dictionary. Okay, here I say one, and then I say column, and here I say student one. Okay. So with this, I can create 2, 3 more like this. This can say 2, can say 2, comma, best. Let's make it 3, and let's make it 3. So I have created a dictionary here, and now I can say for key, comma, value in Manoj dot item, and then comma, I can have print, and then I can have printing of key, dict object has no attribute items. Okay, let me check. Okay, items. So copy and this. Here we need items. And this is what we have. So here, the girl who asked the doubt, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now please observe. First of all, I created a dictionary here. The way to create a dictionary is I have an opening and closing curly bracket. Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Then I have a key and then I have a value. Is it okay?
Yes.
I have a key and I have a value. I have a key, I have a value. Fine, okay up to this point?
Yes.
Suppose I want to access this particular value. The way to do that is I can say Manoj and in the bracket I have to use this particular key which is 1. I'm just going to use that key here and I say enter and you have ST1. Do you see that ST1 here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have accessed a value by using a key. Is that making sense?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay, and if you want to access key and value both, then this is the way you could do. Then name of your dictionary dot and then items opening and closing square bracket. So when you get into this for loop, what they do is this key value pair is picked up, key is assigned here, value is assigned here, and then that is available to you to use. So contents of the dictionary can be accessed by using this. Or
Sir,
if you want to,
please.
sorry.
Show the example of the same will be more clear.
No. What you said? Example what?
की वैल्यू का दोनों का अगर दोनों चाहिए उसका आप एक एग्जांपल बता दो ना तो और क्लियर हो जाए.
Here we have key and value both. We are accessing both. You see that? Can you see? Key value pairs. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Or you are saying in real life क्या उसका फायदा है ऐसा? Is that what you're saying?
अच्छे से समझा नहीं सर ये वाला.
Okay, now let me explain you. Fine. Let's pick up this example and deal with it. Not a problem. Have a look at this. I call it as a Manoj 1, so it will not interfere with my example. Okay, and what I do is I just make it simplified. Okay, is it okay now? Manoj 1 is the list. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
अभी मुझे इसका वैल्यूज एक्सेस करना है तो मैं क्या करूंगा मनोज 1 और मुझे उसका लास्ट वाला वैल्यू चाहिए तो मतलब 0 1 2 3 तो इफ आई से 3 इंडेक्स 3 बोला मैंने तो आंसर 5 मिलेगा. अभी ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Ordered pair, I understand this is 0th value, this is first value, second value, and this is third value. So I can access third value by taking a name of it and putting the index number and then access it. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. अभी ये जो है ना जैसे कि अभी ये बनाया मनोज, ये डिक्शनरी बनाया ऐसे. You cannot access मनोज like that. For example, if I say मनोज और ऐसा बोला कि भाई मुझे जो 0th इंडेक्स पे है वो मुझको दे दो, क्या आ गया? एरर आ गया. तो यू कैनॉट डील विथ सेट्स, सॉरी डिक्शनरीज लाइक लिस्ट इज द फर्स्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग आई वांट टू गिव यू. इतना समझा है क्या?
हाँ सर समझा.
लिस्ट और डिक्शनरी तो डिफरेंट है, इतना समझ में आ गया. ठीक है. अभी इसमें क्या है, लिस्ट में वो इंटरनली इंडेक्सिंग है उसका, लेकिन डिक्शनरी में इंटरनल इंडेक्सिंग नहीं है. इंडेक्सिंग हमको देना पड़ता है. तो हमने कहा दिया है दिस इज माय इंडेक्स and there is corresponding value to it. This is my index and there is a corresponding value to it. This is my index and there is corresponding value to it. तो index भी मैंने दिया, key भी मैंने दिया, उसका value भी मैंने दिया. ओके. लिस्ट में सिर्फ वैल्यू देना पड़ता है, की नहीं देना पड़ता. ट्यूपल में सिर्फ वैल्यू देना पड़ता है, की नहीं देना पड़ता. बट डिक्शनरी में की और वैल्यू दोनों देना पड़ता है. इज इट ओके?
Yes, sir.
एंड व्हेन आई वांट टू एक्सेस इट, द वे टू एक्सेस इज आप की डालो और उससे आप पूरा वैल्यू एक्सेस करो. तो जैसे जब भी आप कोई बैट्समैन का रिकॉर्ड स्टोर करते हैं ना, बैट्समैन ने कितने सिक्सर्स मारे हैं, कितने फोर मारे हैं, उसका एवरेज क्या है, वो सारा जो डेटा होता है. तो इफ यू वांट टू स्टोर फॉर एवरीबॉडी, द वे इज दे क्रिएट